Chapter 4 is going to be working with quadratic functions, so we're going to be working with parabolas or U-shapes. The first section is quadratic functions and transformations. So the transformations that we worked with in the previous couple chapters, we're going to continue to work with in this section. So please write down this equation. We're going to be taking a look at it for today. This A, again, remember, it means it's stretching or compressing. This H moves it left and right. Since we're working with parabolas, there will be a 2 here just to get us that parabola shape. And then this K moves it up and down. So I have these two equations. The parent function is y equals x squared. The new function is y equals a half times our x squared. In the A slot, I have a half. So I would say that it's being compressed by a factor of a half. This next one, I have y equals 2 times x squared. If the original parent function was y equals x squared, now I multiplied it out front by a 2. That number is greater than 1, so it's stretched by a factor of 2. Now if my new function is y equals x squared minus 5, I subtracted 5 to the end of my parent function, so that moves it down 5 units because the k is being affected. This one, notice I am changing the h value, so that moves it left and right. It's the opposite of what you would think, so it would be going to the right 4 units. This next one, the k is being affected, so up and down. Since it's positive 3, then it's going up 3 units. Now, this next one has multiple transformations. This 3 means it's being stretched by a factor of 3. The 4 means it's moving to the right 4, and the 2 means it's moving down 2. So to graph this, I would go to the right 4, I'd go down 2, I would get that vertex. Now this one doesn't have the absolute value bars, so instead of being a V-shape, since it has an exponent of 2, it's going to be a U-shape. So to get that, I can still use this 3 as my slope, going up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1, but I can't go any further than that. I can't continue to go up 3 over 1, or that point would be incorrect. But it would give us this next point, but that's enough to just then make a U-shape. Okay. Now from here, we're going to answer some questions based off of it. So the first question is, what is the vertex? So that's this point right here. So it's 4, negative 2. It's going to be the opposite of this number inside parentheses and then the same as this number. And then my axis of symmetry is this dotted line that splits it down the half, or down the center. Then if I fold along that dotted line, then they will overlap. It's going to be whatever this x value is. So it's x equals 4. Then I'm going to tell whether this vertex is a maximum or a minimum value. It's the lowest point on the graph, so I'd say it is the minimum. If the parabola was going the other way, like this, then I would say that that is then the maximum. The domain for parabolas are always going to be all reals. And then from here, the range is, I'm going to be looking at this y value because range is my y values. And I need to see is my arrows pointing up or pointing down. So since my arrows are pointing up, I'm going to say y is greater than or equal to than that y value, negative 2, because that's the lowest point on my graph. If my arrows are pointing down, then I would say y is less than or equal to negative 2, because that would be my highest point. So let's try another one. So for this one, the negative in the A spot means it's reflected across the x-axis, so the arrows are going to be pointing down, not up. The 2 means it's stretched by a factor of 2. The plus 1 means it goes to the left 1, and the plus 4 is going to go up 4. So let's graph it to start off with. Then I go to the left 1, then I go up 4, I make that point, and then this negative 2, I'm going to go down 2 over 1 and down 2 back 1. It's squared, not the bars, so I don't make a V shape, I just make a U shape. Okay, then I'm going to answer these questions based off of it. My vertex is this point right here, so negative 1, 4. It's the opposite of this number, the same as this number. My axis of symmetry is that dotted line that splits it down the middle. So it's going to be whatever this x value is. So x equals -1. Now from here, this vertex, I need to tell if it's the maximum or the minimum. It's the highest point, so I say it's the maximum. My domain, again, for parabolas is always all reals. And then my range, I use my y value. So 4 is less than that because the arrows are pointing down, so y is less than or equal to 4.